Hey guys, thank you for joining us again for another exciting episode of YOML. This is a Year of Magical Learning podcast. So today, another brand new week, and we are doing Reflection 296. I guess this is a new book for me as well. It's called The New One Minute Manager by Spencer Johnson and Ken Blanchard.
Yeah, so I was uh I was looking for a short, fast read. I think, this is a really quick one. I think I'd just come off a string of a lot of like really longer books in a row. And I remembered I had this one saved actually when I first took over my first sales team when I was, I don't know, I think I was 27 or something like that, 28. Back in my Angie's List days, one of my I got promoted at the same time as like they formed like six other teams. We were growing so fast that like literally like we we hired like six managers at the same time.
Mhm.
And I was one of those roles, and I was very proud to be one of those roles. One of my fellow co-managers who was also taking over his first team in his career at that time was also somebody around my age. He was a little older than me, like maybe 30 or 32 or something. And I remember he bought this book called the 1 Minute Manager, and he was like, my dad told me to read this book, and I go okay, sure, and he goes, he's like, you should check it out. I go, yeah, no, yeah, whatever, cool, never read it. So I remember this book, and I was searching for like a quick, like, I don't know why the everybody culture, everywhere culture, like, kind of piqued my interest a little bit, and from like business side of everything, and I don't know, I just found this book, and it's a fast, quick read, and I was like, why not? Let's see what this is all about. This is actually like a really famous business book. It's like one of those like Who Moved My Cheese kind of books, where it's like fast, and quick, and supposed to be an impactful business book or whatever. I think the same guy wrote this. I think Spencer Johnson wrote both Who Moved My Cheese and um the 1 Minute Manager.
Yes, Spencer.
Is he the Who Moved My Cheese guy too? He is. He wrote both of these. Okay, so yeah, he co-authored the 1 Minute Manager. That's funny. Okay, so this is just like the Who Moved My Cheese kind of book. Anyway, so this book is about it's like a story of this manager that you know has a very specific way of coaching and leading his teams, and he does it so well and efficiently that he only he spends so little time with them, basically, because he's trained them, coached them, understood how to interact with them, and they don't need him anymore, right? So like that's the point of this book, right? It's a parable of a young man looking for an effective manager who's more relevant and useful than ever, right? Like it's just a parable. It's just like Who Moved My Cheese. It's a parable, like business story, right? The book sucked. Like, I mean, I'm not gonna lie. Like, it was awful. Like, I mean, I honestly, it was almost like comically awful. But if this is the only book you ever pick up on leadership and management and all that other stuff, like please
Well,
read
fortunate
more.
for me, I don't want to be a leader.
Fair enough, but please read more if this is the only book you ever pick up. Not that I'm trying to hate on. I actually kind of like the Who Moved My Cheese book, but I think he was trying to recreate the wheel here with that, and tell another like fun parable story. And I don't know. I didn't like it. It wasn't good. That said, though, as this is the year of magical learning, the goal was never, do you like the book or not like the book? Because the goal is learn something, and share your thoughts and reflections, and do this with my daughter. So we did. We read it. We finished it. We learned a lesson. We wrote about it. We're sharing it with you guys now, and that's that, right? So the reflection title was it says catch somebody doing something approximately right. So this is a bit of a story. So you're gonna have to follow me on this one. It might take 5-10 minutes, but I'm excited to tell it. So
Just make it interesting.
I will. Yeah, I got you. Going back to a book that we did a long, long time ago, book 39. It's called Beginners. It's a book about like people that just do a lot of like brand new things in their life, and those experiences and the joy of just trying to do something new. The reflection title from that one, if you remember, was "Learning is a lifetime sport," and learning is one of our core values at Cloveny, and something that's also one of my personal core values. So trying to learn something new every day is the whole point of a la the Your Magical Learning Journey, right? And I love learning because, as we've talked about before, monotony compresses time while novelty unfolds it. We love new shit, right? Like new shit just makes things so much more exciting and so much gets your brain going. It gets you wrapped up in new thoughts and feels like time just flies by when you're learning new things. I mean, it really is, an incredible feeling and almost addicting, right? I mean, it is addicting. Like if you're doing your values right, it's addicting, and a good addiction, but it's addicting. Now learning though is a double-edged sword. While it's really, really fun to fill your head with new novel ideas and thoughts and things that, when you learn new shit and you try new shit, you usually suck at it. So it's kind of humbling, like, right. And it reminds you that you really don't know anything a lot of times. So while learning is really fun and it unlocks the novelty of life, it also, sometimes it can, give you a nice little shot in the pills, of a good dose of humility when you realize, shit, I don't know anything. You know what I mean? It's like, and it just, kind of keeps you on your toes, right? So that said, this got me thinking about that contradiction of learning, and it made me think of a story as I was writing this. So I was going to give an example of the illustration of the power of learning. So the weekend that I finished this book, this is back, I don't even know when it was. So December, we're in August. This is probably back in like November, I would say, when these events happened. So I play in this thing called an industrial tennis league, and it starts in, I feel like, late September, and it goes through May every year. So this is a league where we play every Saturday. We get together at these indoor tennis courts here in Indianapolis, and it's called the Industrial League because each team plays another team. It's like team tennis. So I'm on a team. There's like 12 teams in this league. They have 6 courts. So you're going to have to follow me here. So they have 6 courts. This is how the format of this league goes. There's 3 singles courts. There's 3 doubles courts, right? So each week you're fielding 9 players total from each team are competing each other. These are timed matches. So a normal match is, 3 best of 3 sets, and whoever wins, right? You could, in theory, you could actually lose the overall game score and still win the match, right? So like, let's say you want to, you lost a set 7-6, and then you won the next set 6-0, and then you lost the next set 7-6. Like, you technically, scored won more games in that match and lost the match, right? Like that could happen in a real match. It can't happen in this format, right? So this format is timed. So you only get an hour and a half to compete. So as soon as the clock starts, like when you walk onto the court, you have an hour and a half to play as many games as you can play, and whoever has the most games won. That isn't on serve, meaning like the opponent is down 1 game at the end of it and they're serving, that would be a tie. You have to be up a break and also winning in the game score in order to win the match, right? Does this make sense? Does it make sense? I mean, you're following me? So it's hour and a half long. You just play as many games as you can, and then at the end of it you see who won the most games, overall games, right. not right. To anyway. So it's a really interesting format. It's kind of fun. So every Saturday we all get together. We go play for an hour and a half. It's a great way to just, play an hour and a half of a match. And usually you can get close to 2 sets in, or something like that, or maybe even a little bit more. If you're playing somebody that really sucks, you might sometimes I've played like 4 sets, in an hour and a half, where you're just like kicking somebody's ass. And it's just like, so it's so boring, where you're up like 20-1, and you're like, this, like, can we just end this misery? But you can't stop until the clock sounds. It's kind of weird, actually, in the format. Right. So this particular match on this particular Industrial League day, I was playing on our 1 singles court. So the opponent I was playing, he was good. It was the first time I've ever played him. So I'd never seen him before in this format, and I never played against him. He walks on the court. He had a really interesting game. He was a pretty solid player. I was a little worried when we were going through warm-ups. I was like, shit, am I gonna have to like really bring my A game today because I never met this guy, and like you never know what you're going to get a lot of times when you walk on the court, in this industrial league, because teams have a lot of different players on them. We just rotate players all the time into different courts. So I start this match off, and I'm kind of a little worried. This guy's got really good, seemed like he had a really good game when we were warming up, and all of a sudden, like, he just was missing everything. He was going for every shot and missing everything. Like, and I was like, I didn't even do anything. I swear to you, like, I would just get one ball back in, and he would try to rip a winner, and he would miss it. But I was like, the shots that he was hitting, I could tell were like really good shots, and I was like, he's just missing. I was like, if he starts to get some of these in, I'm like, I'm in fucking trouble. And sure as shit, I found myself up 7-2. We were about 45 minutes, about halfway through the match, so it was an hour and a half, and we're about 45 minutes in. Normally, if you're up 7-2 against an opponent, you're kind of almost cruising, and it's gonna be really, really, really hard for them to come back. I knew this was like a smoke and mirrors kind of situation. This guy hit really aggressive balls, and I was like, if he starts to get his shit together, like, this could be competitive really, really fast. And sure as shit it was. Fast forward about 20 minutes later, it was 8. I was up 8-7. So in the game score, right? He was serving, so we're on serve. It's 8-7. He's up 40-30 in the game score, meaning he has 1 point. He just needs to win one more point in that game to tie up the overall match score at 8 games apiece, right? If he wins the point, we're tied now. So I was up, way up, and now he came storming back, and he's hitting the shots, and all this other stuff. And I'm starting to sweat a little bit on the other end. I'm like, oh God, not only are we about to get tied up, but like, is this guy just going to blow past me and win this match? And I was like, how did this happen? Like, this doesn't usually happen this way in this kind of a format. So it's 40-30. He we get into a rally, like, maybe like a 4 or 5 shot rally or something like that, and he tries to go for another winner, like he'd been doing the whole entire time. He rips his forehand down the line. I'm running across the court trying to go track it down. He's on the down the line shot. He hit it straight down the line. And as I'm running to go to call the ball in or out, like, it looked like it was out, but it was really, really close, right? Like, if this was like one of those Hawkeye things you have at like a pro tournament, like, I would have been like, I don't know, like, it could have been in, it could have been out, like, but for whatever reason, I decided to call it out, right? Like, I knew, oh God, maybe this is in, maybe this is out, I don't know, but I decided I'm gonna call this out. So I call this out. And the guy, is staring right down the line that he was hit at, and he goes, are you sure? And you call that out? And I go, yeah, I think that was out. Yeah. I was like, I think so. And he goes, you sure? And I go, yeah, I think so. So he's like, okay, fine, whatever. So now we're tied. It's deuce, right? And now it's 40-all, and I went on to win that game and break his serve, and now I'm up 9-7, and then I won the next 2 games, so I won and then the clock expired, so I was up 11-7, right? It was a really fun match. Had a good time. Like, this guy was a really good opponent. And after the match is over, we were just like, shooting the shit before, like, we departed, and he was like, man, you're a really good player. He's like, we should get together and go, like, hit some time or whatever. And he was like, do you want to exchange numbers? And I was like, sure, fine. Like, that sounds good. You're a good player. Like, let's go hit some time, So we shake hands, we walk off the court. I get back into my car, and as soon as I get back in my car, I don't know why, I can't get that call out of my mind. Like, I was like, was that it? Was it out? I don't know. Like, I was like, I literally was like, I didn't want to cheat the guy. It was such a pivotal point of this match, like a very, very pivotal point of the match, right? And literally, he wins that point, we're tied, and who the hell knows what happens after that, right? And for me, I'm just like, I didn't really give a shit if I won the match or not. It's just industrial league. I'm just having fun, whatever. And I was like, why didn't I just call that in? If I thought it was questionable, like, why didn't I just call it in? Like, who cares? And I just felt like I kind of screwed the guy, like, and especially how the match shook out after that, and me going on and winning that game, it didn't sit well with me. It didn't feel right, and so I get home, and it's Saturday morning, and I walk in, and Felicia and Luca are eating breakfast or whatever the hell they're doing, and I just went and, like, sat down on a chair, and I just kind of, like, stared blank at the wall, and I was like, I just couldn't get this out of my mind. I really couldn't get it out of my mind. And I sat there and just, ate some breakfast and stared at the wall, and then I told my wife about the scenario, and I was like, I feel really awful right now. And she was like, and I was like, what do you think? She was like, well, you probably feel awful because you probably feel like you probably cheated the guy, and I was like, I was like, you're probably right. I kind of probably did, feel like I kind of cheated the guy, and I was like, I don't want to do that. That like violates my core value of integrity, right? And I was like, man, this really hurts. Like this hurts like way more than losing the match. Like I was like, I feel like I let myself down. I feel like I let Amelia down. I feel like I'm not living up to my own values, and I'm learning, right? And then I remembered this line from I just finished this book, and it said the God, what is it? Oh, punishment never works when you use it on somebody that's learning. And I literally had just heard this like the day before that day, and it was kind of stuck in my head a little bit from this One Minute Manager book, and I felt like I was just punishing myself. But I was like, look, like I won the match, but like it's okay. I screwed up. Like I can sit here and punish myself for feeling like I violated a value, or I can just say fuck it, I'm sorry, and I own up to it, and like and fix this right now, right? Try something, try to do better, So I this is no joke, because that guy and I had exchanged numbers after the match. I sat there and I was like, how could I do this in the future better where I don't feel like this after this match? Like, because people are going to call bad calls every once in a while. Like it happens. Like, I mean, professional line judges make bad calls, and they're staring at the line. It's sometimes it's hard to see the ball, right? Whatever. Like there's intention, and then there's just accidental call. That one, I don't know. I even I couldn't even decipher whether I intentionally called that out or whatever. Like it was a complicated call, right? So I was like, look, I can do better. I like one of the things I could do to alleviate this feeling in the future, if I'm trying to work on my core values and learn and not punish myself, is next time that I'm playing a match against somebody, like I just go up to them and I say, hey, look, this is just a friendly match. We're not like pros or something. Like if I ever make a call where you feel like it is absolutely 100% in, and you are adamant about it, I was like, I will be happy to change the call. Like I just don't care. Like like that is fine. If you think that I made a bad call, then just tell me, and like I will change the call. And I was like, that would work. I was like, and I've done that a few times since this, especially against people that I know are kind of testy about stuff like that. So I'm like, just to kind of set that upfront contract. Or I was like, that could work in the future, but I was like, what do I do to remedy this situation right now? And to like, use my bring my integrity core value out now. I still didn't feel like that was enough, like for me, of a learning lesson yet. And I decided to then text this guy, and I was like, look, man, this is like 2 hours after the match. I was like, it's great. The message was something like, it was great to play to you today. I thought you were a really great player. And I was like, look, I'm really sorry. I can't get this out of my head. I feel like I screwed you on this call. And I was like, I it's such a pivotal point in the match. And, I just wanted to say, like, I'm really sorry. Like, that was not intentional by any means at all. I hope you can accept my apology, and blah, 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 blah. The guy immediately texted me back, and he was like, no worries at all. He's like, it was great playing you. I had a lot of fun. He was like, I probably was wrong anyway. It's fine. Not a big deal. Like immediately I felt this, like, just this sigh of relief. And I was like, okay, well, no matter what he said, I just felt nice that it was out there, knowing like, look, I tried. I'm trying to, honor my core values of integrity. I'm not punishing myself by sitting there in my chair, like, beating myself up, replaying the point over and over and over in my mind. I told you this is going to be a long story. So, anyway, so I feel like, I felt like at that moment in time, I was whole, right? So this all goes back to the title of catch somebody doing something approximately right. So instead of the whole, punishing somebody learning, idea, which is what most people do. I feel like, when you make a mistake, most people just like punish people. But when you're trying to learn something new every single day, like the better approach I did like from this book is instead like catch somebody doing something approximately right, and let them know, good work. You know what I mean? So today, on this particular day, I decided I wanted to document this story and write this thing out, because I caught myself doing something approximately right. I may have fucked up and I could have punished myself, but instead I wrote this down for posterity's sake, to share the story with others, and obviously someday share this with you as well, to say, I'm glad that I caught myself doing something approximately right toward this core value, because I'm still learning, and learning is a lifetime sport, right? So that all comes back around. Anyway, love to get your thoughts.
So I still don't understand what you mean by approximately.
I didn't do it right, because doing it right would have been in the moment saying, well, make the right call, right? Like if I have any questions, like say, that's out. Like, you know, or that's in, right? Like that's the right integrity move. If I have any doubts, I say, I have doubts, that was in. Like, I don't even if I made the call out, I immediately go, no, I have doubts, that was in. Like, I can change it right then and there. The second opportunity that I had to do this the right way, if I was honoring my core values, was to, if they challenged it, to say, okay, maybe I was wrong, and that's okay. Like, you're right. I'm going to give you this point and this game, and we're just going to keep playing and feel better, right? You know, so approximately right was when I went backwards in time and tried to do something approximately right. You know what I mean? It was not a full integrity move. It was approximately a good integrity move. Like I could do better. And I should do better.
But did you know that it was in or out?
I still don't know, man. Like, I know that it was super close.
So to me, it doesn't, because if you know that it was in and you call it out, then yeah, you did approximately right because you violated. But if you don't know and you say, well, you make a judgment call and say, hey, I think it was in. I mean, if anybody challenged me, but it's not like you intentionally.
Hang on, but if I wrote about it and I felt this bad, well, whether or not I explicitly say this or don't say this at this point in time, I probably thought the ball was in. And then he challenged it, and I still said, I'm going to stick with out. You know what I mean? Like, you know, like.
Right. So to me, it goes back to what I'm saying is, you know, regardless of whether in reality, whether it's in or out, it all boils down to whether or not you thought it was in, and then you say something that's opposite of what your initial reaction was.
This is kind of what I'm getting at. I probably felt it was in, and I said
you
it
felt
was
that
out.
it was in, but you called out because you want to take that advantage, right? And because you have a core values integrity, it tugs on you.
Yeah,
this is what
this
is. I mean, thing is, it like take a hold of you and won't let go until you solve the problem.
Yes.
Okay. And so this is whatever I'm saying is, when you have a core value that you know that you have, it's very hard to do the opposite of it. If you have the integrity, like I told you, like I would rather tell you, you know, whatever and hurt your feelings rather than to lie to you.
Right. Right.
Yeah. Because to the other one, it hurts me.
Right. Exactly.
Right. And so a core value is essentially like indicators. It's like these indicators on the dashboard that tells you, hey, you have something wrong. You need to fix it. And until you fix it, it's going to tug at you and won't let you be at peace. And so I think that you thought it was in, and you went against your core values.
Yes.
And when you do that, it won't leave you alone. And to me, this is a lesson that we need to take in: is your core values, what you align with, or your indicators. Take heed of it. It is telling you something that's not aligning with who you're supposed to be. And if you are going to go against it, you're going to suffer. You're going to be miserable just because. Yes. And it could be as harmless as a friendly tennis game. It bogs your mind down from doing anything else. You are being taken and swallow up from the inside, and
I was hijacked. I couldn't even function after I left. I mean,
you
like,
cannot function. You're not free to do anything. You're being swallowed by this whatever the anti-integrity swamp monster.
Emotion, feeling. Yeah, I mean, it's just an emotion, I guess. I don't know.
And so the thing, it will tell you have to set it right. And to me, that's fine. I don't think you did anything approximately right or wrong. It's just that you had I
broke my values.
Well, you didn't broke your value on purpose, but because you have multiple values, and those value, the competitiveness inside you overrode one of your core. One of the core value is in conflicting, because your competitiveness wants to win. Okay,
right.
So in the heat of the moment, that competitiveness core value take over, and it make it a move, and they say like, well, there's like I think 70% it's in, but I'm gonna there's slight doubt. I'm gonna do the opposite. And so your competitiveness core value took over, but then the other core value say, look, you did it wrong, and that was stronger than the competitiveness because it has more, I guess, evidence in saying that you cheated.
Right. Yeah.
And,
I did.
And to people, like when people
it
cheat,
matters.
When people cheat other people and take advantage of other people, if they don't have the core value, it doesn't affect them at all.
Yeah.
It doesn't. It doesn't affect them at all. It affects only you that has the core, because that core value is the one that creates the monster that swallow up your whole entire focus and attention, and you can't do anything else until you basically be able to feed a monster of something that it wants, which is like, hey, I have to correct this. And I think you're doing the right way, because the thing is, a lot of times what you don't do is you keep endure this. Let's say you endure it. Like, look, I endured this stupid, can't get my mind. You endure it. You do it in the wrong way. If your core value is tugging on you, they say, okay, what do you want, core value? What do you want me to do? And do them. And I think you did them right. Yes, you make a mistake because there's a blip in time that in the heat of the moment, you used one of the core values that you shouldn't have because it was a judgment call at the moment. But then the other one, with enough time, it starts to eat up that attention, that memory. And like I say, there's two ways you can do it. One way is the right way, which is to correct them. The other way is to endure them. And so to me, that's why I don't understand about when you say approximate right. I mean, you did it right. It is the right thing.
I guess I was saying approximately right because like I could have done it right the first time. So like
but you don't have the information. You don't have enough information at the moment to say I did it right or wrong. Because the thing is,
I immediately felt bad after the game was over. I mean, like I couldn't get out of my mind.
But how do you? But the thing is, you still have to know, how do I process it?
I don't know. I mean, I can tell you, like
you can't. I mean, you cannot make an action until you get to the point where you say, well, because it's all about the balance of value, right? When something is eating at you emotionally inside, it's going to it take a toll, quote unquote, a toll. I mean, you're paying for that toll. That toll, it is greater than the advantage of the competitive that you won the match. When it went greater, your elephant, your instinct automatically say, well, I know this is not, I have to correct. But before it was like maybe the competitiveness and the advantage of winning was a little bit more than that. And so yes, you still have those, but they are basically the balance. Until the balance can settle, right? You're not gonna make an action. When you're on the fence, you're not gonna make anything. You're gonna do anything. You're gonna make a decision.
Yeah, it's kind of
paralyzed. To me, it's not like you
can go back in time and fix it. Like after the game was over, I couldn't go. You can take that game. Like I mean,
but I'm saying is you can't really go and completely change your elephant. Your elephant is what it is. You can't change it, right? You can train it over time to do certain things, but it's instinctiveness. It's the way it works. It cannot be changed. It's like I told you, it's your DNA. Why do you take the integrity as a core values? Did you choose it? No, it's just because it's part of you. It's not like, oh, I want this because whatever, and then I start to develop this bad feeling because I cheat somebody. It's just who you are. That's the elephant.
It's a horrible feeling.
You didn't choose it.
It is the worst thing ever.
It's just the worst feeling. It's just draining you.
Oh my God, it is. Like I can't stop thinking about it whenever this is one of the reasons why like integrity even made the list, right? Like I mean, I can't sometimes like certain things in my life when I do something that I know was wrong, and I know that I know it was wrong, or wrong. Well, I guess wrong subjective. Like I mean, I felt it was wrong.
When you felt it's wrong, it's just not aligning with the core value that you hold.
Right.
It's just like I said, you don't choose these core values. This core value happens to be a part of your patterns of your DNA, and it's who you are as a person. and you have to abide by the rules of that body.
Yeah, I think I mean my whole life I feel like that especially in like tennis, whenever I thought I can't remember ever once in my life purposely on purpose, knowing a ball was in and saying it was out. I don't think I've ever done that in my entire life. I've definitely been like I called a ball out and I was like, what's that in? Like, I mean, I don't know. I mean, and I'm like, it was, really, really like similar situation, right? There's definitely been, I don't even know how many times in my life when I've had to have that scenario play out, right? Where it's like a really, really tough ball to read, and I make a decision one way or the other, right? I mean, I'm sure I've caught a lot of balls that were out in, at the same time too, right? Like, when it's on that similar.
But it doesn't
situation.
matter whether it's reality or not. It's matter what you thought.
Exactly. This is what I'm saying. It's like, but it's always an after the fact call, right? It's like I make a
and
call.
that's why I say
moment,
that's why I say
then,
it's not like you did anything wrong. It's just that it happens to be in the moment where your competitiveness took over and make the decisions for you. Because at the moment you don't have anything to choose from, and you have to choose one or the other, and you just picked it. But the thing is, when you start to feel bad, it's just that you realize now that more information has come in and the balance of scale has tipped.
For sure.
And you're gonna have to fix it, because otherwise it's gonna eat at you for a long, long time. It's going
the whole
to
match. The whole and beyond.
It's beyond. It's not just that moment, but it's for days, probably weeks afterward. I mean,
I'm still talking about it. I just told you. Like I just wrote a
only time can erase it. But even if you erase it and I bring it back, that emotion comes to evoke again.
There was a match that I played. God, it was probably like 3 years ago now. It was against that Ricky guy, the one that I finally beat for the first time ever last week, and I'm in the finals now of my indie tennis summer bracket. And he and I, Ricky is a fierce competitor, right? I mean, he is a fierce competitor. I am as well. Like we're both fierce competitors. Like I mean, between the two of us, I mean, I don't know that you can get, like I'm way more vocal about my competitiveness, but he's like almost like stone cold silent killer, like scary, like competitive. You don't even know that he's fucking raging, but he's fucking raging. We have complete opposite personalities, but I think we're both incredibly, incredibly competitive people, right? Well, this one match that we played, it was in the playoffs as well a couple years ago, for this indie tennis bracket. It was probably, I think it might have been like I think it might have been the first time that we ever played, maybe the second time we ever played or something like that. And it was like a really big dog fight, that match. And like I think he won the first set 7-5, and I think we went to a tiebreaker in the second set. There was so many calls, and I don't know, like at a certain point in time, it just got really out of hand between the two of us. Like I've never had a match ever in my entire life that I can ever think of, but I'm recounting this for you right now because it's like I wasn't ever purposely trying to call bad lines or something like that, but he'd seem like he thought I was screwing him. Like, and then vice versa, I thought he was screwing me multiple times, as well, where I'm like, what the, like, it felt like it was every other point we were both like, what the fuck, man? Like we're both like going, at a certain point in time, this match devolved into this ugly episode where I've never even ever been a part or something like that ever in my life, and at the end of the match, actually, I think it was maybe even going into the second set, I was like, look, like I don't need to cheat to beat you, like, and I don't want to cheat to beat you. I was like, if you ever feel like I'm making a bad call, just fucking say it. But like, we need to stop doing this shit. That you and I are both like, barking at each other. Like, I get it, we're both competitive, but like that match, like I left that match going, man, he probably fucking hates me, like it just as a human being, like, you know what I mean? And I don't know what he thinks that I think about him. I don't hate him. I think he's actually a really great guy. He's a really fierce competitor. But like, I mean, that's all that I can think about. And every time that I play him, every fucking time that I play him since then, honestly, in the back of my mind, that match always replays over and over and over again, where I'm like, man, he probably fucking hates me. You know what I mean? And like, I hate that feeling so much, of feeling like that somebody else thinks that, like, he probably told his buddies or something like that, oh, Chris is a cheat. You know what I mean? Like, or something along those lines. And I'm like, I'm not a cheat. What are you talking about? Like, but like this is the shit that drives me nuts. Talk about like why my integrity core value is so I hate that feeling. Like, I mean, I hate it. Like, I hate it.
Right. Anytime you have a core value, which is like really strongly the core value aligns with who you are as a person. Anytime you go against it, anytime you violate it, it's gonna give you that icky feeling. And so I think the
Disgusting feeling.
reason why you have this awful images of Ricky when you play him is because you have this integrity as a core values, and you, based on your experience, you imagine that he tells other people that you're not an honest guy, and that gets to you. And that's why
Yeah,
that's why you have the experience that evokes that emotion of, hey, this awful feeling every time I see him, and I imagine that he's saying things that is not aligning with who I am as a person.
yeah, for sure. I mean, I'm proud to say the match that I finally just beat him for the first time ever last week or whatever it was, a week. Yeah, like yeah, last week. Um, uh, there was only one call that he challenged on me the entire time, and I knew without stone cold lead pipe lock that ball was out. I was standing right on top of it, and it was like 3 to 4 inches out, and I was like, no, that was out. Like, I mean, I don't. There's not even a. I mean, like 1000% knew this ball is out. And you know what? Probably the thing that made me feel most proud about that, not just beating him, but like. There was not a single question, you know, Mark, that he could ever have said to me in that entire match. They would have been like, oh, we fucked me over, like, you know, like 3 different points or whatever. And that's what tipped the balance or something like that. Like, no, not at all, man. You just lost. And I swear to you, on all things holy, I will go to the grave and say, the one ball that you challenged me on, like, you know, it was 1000% out. You know, like, I mean, like, there was zero doubt in my mind, you know, like, that probably makes me feel more proud than even just beating him, because these are just for fun matches, right? I mean, it's not like it's not like, well, I don't know. I mean, would it matter if there was money on the line? Let's just say we were pros, you know, and that particular match was, you know, we were playing for $1 million, you know, or something like that. Does that matter?
Yes and no, because it depends. Like I tell you, your body your elephant has this instinct to wait out the effect of multiple core values at once. Whoever comes on top is what you care about. It's the decision you go for. So if you have $1 million on the line, the other core values of security and whatever is going to weigh in as well. And so if it's too much, then yes, it's going to trump the other core values and integrity, whatever. Yeah. So if you have $1 million on the line and you can't pay for it, yes, you will cheat just because it. I mean, I'm just saying, hey, this is how your body works. You cannot say, hey, you know, I'm not gonna listen to you. I'm not gonna do blah blah blah. I'm gonna do a bunch of shit. I'm gonna eat the frog, right? That is gonna bring misery. All you have to do is understand how your elephant works, how your body works. Your body has a certain affinity to a certain type of characteristic and traits, and those are what governs how you behave. Right. And so based on the core value you have and based on the impact of those core values, it's going to weigh which one is going to be more. Because the thing is, if you are being competitive and you need to win, right, that weighs in on over the other one. But because it's a friendly match and there's nothing to weigh down the other side, your integrity is going to come on top, and it's going to be the one that's going to get to you. If you, on the opposite side, if you have something that is way much more, it's going to trump the integrity value, and that one gets to tug on you. Right.
Yeah. It's very complicated. But like, I think if you just follow your emotions, it's not complicated. And I think
your emotions or your indicator. Okay. Yes. So take heed of it. Just like we say in the what's the first book? The Alchemist. Like, you know, you need to listen to the omens, right? Watch the omens and take heed of the omens. Your emotions or your indicator say, well, I don't like this feeling. Stop doing it.
Stop doing it. Yes, exactly. Stop.
I don't like to learn this information. Stop learning it. You don't need to learn it.
I think this is a really important point that I want to make sure that we at least end this on this is punishment does not work when you use it with somebody learning, right? Like if you always think of yourself as a work in
I don't think
progress, and
punishment works at all.
no,
Punishment just tell you.
it can,
Punish,
it can get you an outcome that you want in the short term. But I'm saying like but
but
when you're
that's
learning, it
my
stifles the
argument is
learning.
that my argument is that punishment means that, hey, I don't like it. It's like, hey, eat the frog so that you can be, whatever these people say, hey, rise, grind, repeat, and have the grit, whatever. Eat the frog, do the hard things first, and endure, blah blah blah. Yeah, you can get through life through it, but
Right.
there's other way. There's other alternative. That's not just one way. My point is, in life, there is so many different alternatives that you can use as long as you figure out how to do it. Why are you trying to push it through the one way that you see?
Because
Punishment,
it seems
to me,
easy to
punishment,
punish yourself. It's
because you're being trained, you're being conditioned that way.
I know. Well, I mean, I wasn't. I don't know that I was conditioned that way, but like, I naturally wanted to punish myself for feeling like I cheated that guy in that match, right? That I'm telling this example, right? Like I naturally wanted to punish myself. I wanted to be like,
That's not
you're an
punishment.
asshole. I like I wanted to call myself names.
Right. You're trying to soothe that integrity monster that's trying to
Right.
eat at you. You're
Right.
not doing it for his sake. You're doing it for your sake. So
Yeah.
whatever you say, you're doing it for you. You have this uneasy feeling, and you're trying to appease it, and you're trying many things to appease it. Like whatever comes to mind, you appease. So punishment is one of those things, like to distract you from the pain or whatever. That's just happens to be there. It doesn't mean that, hey, it soothes you or anything. It just, hey, it distracts you.
Right.
It just distracts you from that feeling for a moment, but it wasn't enough distraction to completely get rid of that monster. It's still there. So that's the reason why you couldn't punish you all you want. You can go ahead, I'm gonna I'm going to, bang my head against the wall like 100 times and take the punishment, right? You're not doing anything for him. You just said punishment is one of the, I guess, easy to reach tool to get this user distracted. So punishment for me is one of those tools that people have commonly been using. So it has been in top of mind that say, hey, that's an easy tool that's is out and open that people can see and use until they keep using punishment, keep using pain, because that's the thing. I mean, if they start looking, then they're gonna find many other alternatives. If they don't look, they don't think about punishment's right there, so they use it. And to me,
But like
punishment
punishment
doesn't
stops growth too. Like I mean,
That's what I'm
if you
saying. Is
look,
punishment, you cannot use it with any learning, not just somebody.
no. Like you can't. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Is like we're all work in progress. Like that was my point of all this. Is like
It's just
we're
that
all work in
we're talking
progress.
about learning, right?
Right.
When you and my opinion is this: everybody, all human beings, loves to learn. Okay,
Yes.
and the thing is, it's not about learning in general. It's learning what matters to you.
Right.
You love that. Whether you say, hey, I love to play poker. Oh, I love to swim. I love to go fishing. I love to play tennis. I love whatever. These are learning. You learn something that aligns to you. So when somebody loves to learn, right, they going to be aligned with who they are. And if you punish somebody in the learning, that learning, it just stops. It gets in the way. So punishment
Shuts it down.
never works with
And stops you
learning,
from learning.
period. And to me, learning is about learning the thing that aligns with your core value. The other that it also like kind of get categorized inside in the same bucket as learning is getting information. Like when you give me information, that's not learning. I don't want to take it. I'm being fed this information. That's not learning. You say, hey, I gotta go to school. I gotta do this, blah blah. That's not learning, because after I don't have to use it anymore, I forget it. So how can you call that learning? Learning to me is taking information and create an insight out of it.
Yeah,
Making it your own is called learning.
This reflection is learning.
My definition of learning is that taking the information and distill it for my own. That's learning. So no one can ever learn on something they're not interested in. because you can force feed me information. You can tell me about, the universe, the solar system, whatever. If I'm not interested, like 5 minutes later, it went. I mean, I completely forget it. Like a day later, I don't know what you're talking about. A year later, completely forget. So that's not learning. Learning is like, okay, I just throw some information at you, and people call that, hey, learn about this. That's not learning.
Right.
That's just temporary getting exposed to information.
Agreed. Yeah.
And so when you truly learn something, punishment cannot be in the equation.
No, you
cannot punish me to learn anything. You can put a gun to my head and punish me to learn something. I guarantee you, I will retain that information for that short term, and then it's gone. It will never go into my long-term memory.
Yep. Yeah, I couldn't agree more. So I think the better approach to learning is catch somebody doing something approximately right. They may not be perfect at it. Like, you may not understand all of your values, right out the gate, but keep learning, like, and keep encouraging people to keep learning.
Keep monitoring your emotions,
right?
Because they're there as an indicator, right? It's telling you something, right? You can either ignore it or you can pull out the indicator. Right? That's what I'm saying. It doesn't do anything for you. I mean, it's saying, hey, look, there's danger. I'm telling you this. I'm giving you this,
yeah, like my check engine light is on,
right? Awful alarm, right? It's for you to get noticed. Yes, the sound is awful. It's by design.
Right. Yeah. No, like, legitimately, my check engine light is on in my car, and I'm totally ignoring it, and I know that I need to address it, but I'm just like, maybe it'll go away on its own. It's like, nope, it's not gonna go away.
No,
like you gotta listen to yourself. So I totally agree. Awesome. All right. Any final thoughts? I feel like that's I feel that's a good purge for the day.
Yeah.
Thanks for listening to a long story, by the way. I know that one's a long one. So
yeah, it has its interesting parts, which is the reactions and how you deal with the I guess the actions that you create. Those, as long, like I say, as long as the information aligns with your core value, it is interesting. If it doesn't align, it doesn't matter what you do. You can sing, you can dance, whatever. It's like, I go to sleep.
Fair enough. Fair enough. So the question we can leave with everybody is, when was the last time you caught someone learning and gave them some encouragement to keep trying? Don't tell them they suck, and don't punish them. Keep encouraging them. Let them learn. It's fun. Learning's fun. That's why it's one of my
by our definition of learning.
Yes. Yeah.
Right. Not just learning. Right.
Learning because you want to learn,
learning, period, is what I say. Learning is something you want to know.
Right.
Learning by forcing somebody a bunch of information isn't learning.
That's torture. Yeah.
It is torture.
Yeah.
It's like listening to somebody talk for hours about things you don't care about. That is torture. Agreed. Imagine doing that. But then if they talk to you about something that interests you, it's like the hour seems like 5 minutes.
For sure. Which we magically did it again. Awesome. All right.
Even on the 1 Minute Manger book, we are able to go
still went
a lot of time.
Awesome. All right. Well, we'll see you all tomorrow night. Thanks for joining as always.
Yeah. Good night. See you tomorrow.